Ryan Rollins might be one of the most intriguing basketball prospects we've seen in a long time. And no, I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I had never heard of Rollins when I saw that the Warriors acquired him in the draft, but soon enough I knew why Bob Myers hopped on the opportunity to trade up and select him. Let's go over the unique skills and physical tools that Rollins possesses, as based on his resume, I'm not sure why he was passed up 43 times until the Dubs traded up with the Atlanta Hawks to acquire him with the 44th pick. Ryan Rollins is a 6'4", 180-pound guard out of Toledo, a smaller mid-major school in Ohio. Rollins referenced his 2 years at Toledo in his opening press conference, as he said guys like Steph Curry inspired and paved the way for him, as Curry came from a small mid-major school as well in Davidson. Now, this did cause Rollins to get highly overlooked, since he wasn't on a nationally recognized stage. However, he was still projected to go somewhere in the first round, and with his one-of-a-kind talent, size, and length for a point guard, I'm really surprised no one drafted Rollins earlier than the 44th pick. Before we get into his specific skill set, let's go over his college stats. In his first year at Toledo as a young 18-year-old, Rollins averaged a solid 13.7 points, 5.2 rebounds, and 2.5 assists to go along with 1.1 steals on 43.1% from the field, 32.3% from 3, and 78.6% from the free throw line. Based on that versatility alone, I'm betting Rollins would have gone first round in the 2021 draft, had he gone somewhere like Kentucky or Duke. But he decided to come back to Toledo for his sophomore year and prove to scouts that he is an NBA-ready talent. In his sophomore year, Rollins improved his numbers across the board to 18.9 points, 6 rebounds, 3.6 assists, and 1.7 steals with 46.8% from the field, 31.1% from 3, and 80.2% from the free throw line. Sheesh, those are impressive numbers for a 19-year-old sophomore. So let's explain those stats with some analysis of his overall game. I want to read some excerpts from a Ryan Rollins draft report by Synergy that is actually on NBA.com. I felt it broke down his game really well, and then I'll expand on it with some of my own thoughts afterwards. It starts out by saying Ryan Rollins is a long, smooth guard who scored in bunches from the mid-range while emerging as one of the top mid-major scorers in the country as a sophomore at Toledo. Measured standing 6 foot, 3.25 inch shoes with a 179-pound frame that still has room to improve, and a 6 foot 9.75 wingspan at the 2022 NBA Draft Combine, Rollins has impressive length for his height and is a very fluid athlete. Rollins created his own shot at a high level out of ball screens, playing with good pace, creating separation in a variety of ways with nice footwork, and scoring from all three levels. Rollins was prolific in the mid-range, averaging 0.89 points per pull-up jump shot, 72nd percentile. He made shots steadily inside the arc, but often used the threat of his jumper to help himself get downhill as well. Rollins scored impressive 1.22 points per shot around the rim in the half court, 68th percentile, and 0.85 points per floater, 67th percentile. Rollins scored 0.92 points per catch and shoot jump shot in the half court, 39th percentile, and has room to smooth out his mechanics and expand his range to make the most of opportunities off the ball. Making the simple play out of ball screens, Rollins could be a bit more creative as a passer. Now, with my own thoughts, two things that stand out right away about Rollins are his absurd length and size. Being 6'4" will already give him a great advantage against smaller point guards, but having a 6'10" wingspan as a point guard is unique and rare. That combination of length and size is something that not many point guards have, and given that he's only 19 years old with his 20th birthday coming up on July 3rd, it's a huge surprise he wasn't drafted earlier or given more coverage coming into the draft. If I was any team that drafted in the lottery this year, I would regret not taking a long look at Ryan Rollins and his absurd length at the point guard spot. That wingspan can wreak havoc on many opposing guards, and Rollins might be able to make a huge impact defensively once he gets comfortable with the Warriors' defensive schemes. I guarantee that once he learns more of how to use that length and size to his advantage, the Dubs will no doubt find a huge role for him down the road. He's kind of like a Gary Payton II, but 9 years younger with an insane pull-up game. Bob Myers knew what he was doing with trading up for Rollins, and there's no doubt in my mind that will pay off in the future. Some other things I want to highlight in that draft report is Rollins' pull-up game and ability to get inside the paint. With Rollins' unique length, he can rise up over smaller defenders with ease and can even get clean looks against taller defenders. He's got good shooting mechanics in the mid-range, much like former Warriors Shaun Livingston, as his mid-range jumper will be a useful asset in developing his three-point shot. Rollins should get a lot of good mid-range looks coming off pick and rolls, since many teams only try to guard the paint and the three-point line. And even if teams play up on his mid-range game with the pick and roll, he can still use his wingspan and size to get to the paint, draw fouls, or kick out to open teammates. Those pick and roll skills will be very useful in the NBA, as I'm sure that's a huge reason the Warriors acquired him. I think with Rollins still trying to develop his overall game, his pick and roll maneuvers and ability to attack closeouts will be important to finding early success and making a name for himself as one of the most talented young guards in the NBA. Having talked about Rollins' strengths, let's get to a few things he'll need to improve on. He doesn't have a lot of standout weaknesses because of his size, wingspan, and smooth mid-range game, but he will need to get better at his three-point shooting and playmaking. As I mentioned, I like Rollins' smooth mechanics in the mid-range, and I think he can build on that when developing his set shot. However, he seems to have the confidence to take three-point shots, shooting around 4 per game in college, and at that point, it's just about adding a few minor tweaks to his jumper in order to improve his 32% three-point shooting in college. He'll be able to use the same mechanics when pulling up from 3 off the dribble, so I think that component of his three-point shot will improve with more reps, but what will really set him apart is his catch and shoot game. I think Rollins is so used to creating shots off the dribble and having the ball in his hands that he can't get a rhythm when he finds himself in catch and shoot situations off the ball. The Warriors obviously have a great development staff, and I'm sure guys like Chris DeMarco or Bruce Fraser can help Rollins, as those two coaches have greatly developed Jordan Poole's jump shot and have elevated Steph's shooting to new levels. Then with his playmaking, Rollins only averaged around 3 assists for his college career. Based on some draft reports, it sounds like Rollins will need to get more creative as a passer and look to facilitate more for his teammates. I think that will come with time more than anything, as even if Rollins never develops into a point guard, his size and length will allow him to play either the 2 or 3 and find a niche as a slasher and lockdown defender. I'm super excited for Rollins, and he was definitely overlooked in the 2022 draft. Once again, the Warriors continue to dominate the game in scouting and player development, as finding another hidden gem in Ryan Rollins only adds to their insane track record of finding second round talent. Thank you for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.